Lately, on behalf of the Herbie Hancock Institute of Jazz, I've been presenting jazz informances for different organizations around the country. Jazz informants is part information, part performance, and we discuss leadership through the jazz paradigm. For instance, last year we presented one of these informances at the U.S. Federal Trade Commission in Washington, D.C. for their 3-day leadership academy for their highest level employees. They were interested in learning from the jazz space how to build better partnerships and coalitions on teams in their space, because a jazz group truly exemplifies great leadership. Here are 6 leadership lessons that can be learned from jazz. Number 1, jazz musicians know how to overcome problematic working conditions. If the stage is too small, the acoustics are bad, the piano's out of tune, the pay is way light, the drummer doesn't show up, we still have a great set. And if there are a couple of people in the band that don't see eye to eye, that don't get along, we not only have a great set, we might just create some of the greatest jazz in history, some of the greatest art in history, like Miles Davis and John Coltrane did in their group in the 1950s. Here you had 2 musicians who had totally different concepts on the right way to play jazz. Miles liked to use a lot of space. Dwee da da, da da. Wait, wait, wait. Ba-da-dee-doo-dee-do. Where John Coltrane, the saxophone player, liked to fill up every space. And even though they came from such opposite ideas of how to do the right way to play jazz, they came together and created some of the greatest art ever made, regardless of genre, right up there with Tolstoy and Da Vinci and Baryshnikov and Mozart and Beethoven. Number 2, jazz musicians take turns leading. In any jazz performance, even when there's a designated leader of the band, which there usually is, the musicians at any given moment will take turns leading. Sometimes it'll be the soloist that's in charge, or the rhythm section, or the drummer, or the pianist. And we always go along with the leadership of the moment and enjoy the leadership of the moment because of how well we learn from each other. Like when you listen to the great Dave Brubeck and Paul Desmond in the Dave Brubeck Quartet, they would exchange leadership roles all the time. And the results? Legendary. 3, jazz musicians realize that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and the goal is the most important thing. In jazz, the goal is to have a great performance. So, we leave our egos at the door. We don't see eye to eye with somebody. We might be fighting with one of our bandmates, but once we get on the bandstand, we're of one mind, one purpose, to make great music. Number 4, we recognize the contributions of others. All the time, jazz musicians revere the masters of the past, and they're always talking about how good somebody else plays. We're always complimenting someone after the set. Oh, you played so great on that. Your bandmate. Hey, I loved how you played on Cherokee. I love that ending. Can you show me? We always recognize the contributions of others. We're always looking at how great somebody else plays. Jazz musicians, number 5, really intensely listen to one another, because we cannot function if we're not intensely listening to one another. The bass player doesn't know what to play unless he's intensely listening to the drummer. And the drummer doesn't know what to play unless he or she is listening to the bassist. And they both have to listen to the pianist. And that's the rhythm section, piano, bass, and drums. They have to listen to the soloists and the vocalists. And the vocalists have to listen to them, because if they don't listen intensely, they don't know what to play. Jazz musicians can only function if they are really listening to and supporting each other intensely. Wouldn't it be great if Congress were made up of all jazz musicians? And number 6, and most important, jazz musicians know how to improvise. Because when things go awry, you got to turn it into something better than if it hadn't gone awry. You know, jazz legend Herbie Hancock tells the story that once when he was playing with Miles Davis in the 1960s, he spaced out for a second and not only played the wrong chord, played the worst chord possible at the moment while Miles Davis was soloing. And Miles Davis immediately changed his note and made it fit the wrong chord beautifully, better than if Herbie had played the right chord. And this was a common occurrence in that group, and it too has gone down in history as one of the most successful and influential groups in history. Overcoming problematic working conditions, taking turns leading. Know that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and the goal is more important than anything else. Recognize the contributions of others, really listen to one another, and be able to improvise. Leadership through the jazz paradigm.